Hey, good people, this is HammerTime. Today, I'm here with Dr. Sonnie Badu at Rock Hill Church, Stone Mountain. My brother, how you doing?
Hey, HammerTime, how are you?
Yeah, man, I'm good.
Good to see you.
Same here. I was here last night, and I saw how you handle your church. I saw the facility, and I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
Well done.
Thank you.
How do you select your teams for your congregation? For spiritual marriage, I love the
message.
The message. Yeah.
So, first of all, thank you for coming over. It was a short time of preparation, but hey, we're ready for it. So, how this church came together was that God told me to raise a people, power them, and then let them possess the city gates. So the structure of the church is very simple. Sundays are for empowerment. Better word being used, motivation, building you up for the business world. But Tuesdays are for deliverances,
right,
where we go deep. We teach you about things that you perhaps are going through, but you didn't know that it was spiritual. So Tuesdays are our nights of deliverances, and then Sundays are our nights of empowerment. So what I was teaching on Tuesday, which you came for, was I was going down into breaking down what spiritual marriages are, and perhaps the deliverance you saw was as a result of what we were teaching.
It's something that is happening, or we shouldn't really take it that serious when it comes to spiritual marriage.
It is something that is happening, but people haven't had solutions for it. I'll tell you a story. This morning, one of my daughters in New York, who never misses our services, she's an e-church member, had a party to go to, but told the friend, I gotta stay in for Dr. Badu's service. So a stranger comes in and begs her that she has an appointment. So she sits in the salon with her, and then she switches the service on. Hear this. Whilst this woman is watching, she now says, oh my God, I think I have a spiritual husband, or I've had a spiritual husband for 12 years. And because of that, I had to divorce my husband, number one. Number two, after that, I have not been able to marry. Number three, this person literally sleeps with me 3 times a day, and he rapes me. I thought it was normal. I didn't know how I could get help. Whilst I was delivering people here in the service, they were receiving their deliverance on the screen in New York.
Right.
A lot of people are suffering, but don't have help. So this message is so timely and perfect at this time, and that's what we're here to do.
I came to meet the service, and when I came, you were delivering the marriage, spiritual marriage. You were here for like 3 hours. Where do you get your energy from? I was like, is he not tired? You know.
Well, you got in 2 hours after I had started.
Exactly. So I was like, ooh, I'm wondering when you're free, hey.
Well,
but later I just realized that you like football. Are you a footballer?
Of course, I used to be a footballer. So mind you, people on Tuesdays are coming from all over the states. Some are flying from different states. Some are driving 10 hours, 15 hours. And they're all coming to receive their deliverances. So whereas you're dealing with this person, you have to also deal with that person and deal with that person, because you cannot let them go empty-handed, okay? Like after service, one of the ladies who had to wait behind said, thank you. She came all the way from Iowa, and she received her deliverance. And when she was going, she said, thank you. Now I have a question. How do I remain in this presence? I don't want to lose it. So the reason why it takes longer is because there's so many cases I gotta deal with. Like a medical doctor who goes to the hospital, sometimes based on the cases you have to stay longer. So that's what it is.
Okay, so I've learned to realize that to know somebody present, you should look back. Growing up, did you ever thought that you would do music or would be a prophet or a pastor?
I was born into a music family. I keep telling people, my grandfather is the famous now. People know him of his songs, but they don't know that that's it. That's my grandfather. Is the famous Akwesimenu. I might not know him, but I'm gonna sing his songs now. Akwesimenu maye breve. Akwesimenu kente uko. Idana mada kente uko. That's my grandfather. Or Obinfire nana say mami. Obinfire nana say mami. And I say Ajimana noni. That's my dad's father. Unfortunately, he died before my father was born. So that musical side came from him.
Right.
Yeah. So music has been in my bloodline from conception. Yeah. In terms of the ministry, my father is a pastor. Of course, I knew that one day the calling of God will come on me finally. My father told me several times. The problem was I was not interested. I never wanted to do it. I based on how I saw people treat my dad as a pastor, I just didn't want to know. But I guess when the calling comes on you, you have no choice. You got to respond to it.
How are you protecting your grandpa, your grandfather, and their music?
His legacy?
Your legacy. How are you protecting their songs?
I quite remember many years ago, my dad went to GBC and they found some old records of him. And as time bypassed, everything wiped out. But thank God for Sonnie Badu. I will keep talking about my grandfather. And I think he's very proud of me in his grave.
You know why I asked this? Because looking at our system, Ghana, we don't really, we don't say cheers, why we don't respect old age. The current situation in Ghana, Abin Christian is gone, and an unproduced funeral is this Saturday. Watches own was last week. PAC's funeral is next week. AB Christian is around November. It looks like entertainers at their old age
die in pain.
Exactly.
Die in agony. Die perhaps cursing. I heard the watcher died. Even a hospital, a bed, he could not get it. I wonder what he said before he took his final breath. I think the government, the president, whoever is on ruling the country should really focus on ensuring that these legends, people who were in the entertainment scene, kept us going. Once upon a time, we had Osofo-Dazi, we had Obra, we had all these people that Thursday theater, we had Mr. Mensa, and all of these people, they kept us going.
Oh, this guy too is gone. What's his name?
Taxi driver, TT is gone.
No, just a few days ago, Coblanson.
Yeah, he's also gone. It's like there's this thing about Ghana, you get to a certain stage, oh, wait, Trim, that's it. I've never seen or never known an actor or an actress that's expired. Even in their old age, they can still play an old role. You check Hollywood, Clint Eastwood was still acting even in his 70s or whichever. But Ghana has that mindset, you get to a certain age, if you go quiet, it means you're outdated. And that causes a lot of pain with these guys. When you see some of their state of living, it's so painful because it's like they've wasted their investment too. They didn't raise their kids well, perhaps. The finances was not that much, and so their kids cannot even take on their father's legacy, and that's painful, so painful. I wonder what they said before they died. Even if they're doing these honorary concerts, they just give you a plaque and give you 3,000 Ghana. What would that do for you? You know, and now the problem here is that you get a lot of people now streamlining their songs on YouTube and making money out of it. And these guys, because there is no system, they don't even make a penny out of it. So they die in pain, they die in agony. And do not play with the words of of whoever is about to die. Do not play with the things they say before they leave this world. I wonder what they've been saying.
Just this morning, I saw a video of Shatawale angrily shouting. See from the face that it's bitter. Talking to the president like the street is hot, the street is complaining, but people are not telling the truth. A whole lot. Is it a curse to be in the entertainment industry in Ghana?
I wouldn't want to go too much into it, so I'm taken out of context.
Yes,
but I think the industry needs a Shatawale who will speak his mind. I know sometimes he goes all aggressive and all of that, but sometimes when you take the aggressiveness on the side and you listen to the content or what he's trying to say, he's making sense. And sometimes his frustration is validated because certain things shouldn't be going on the way it should. I watched a little bit of what he was saying, and I heard even with the global citizens thing, they didn't want to put him on. Shatta is a street boy. Why didn't you have Shatta on there? That's not my business. However, I think we are putting politics or taking politics to every field, and it's no more Ghana centered. It's individual centered and what they can make in their pocket. And so you mind your business. So coming back to legacy, I'm glad God made me who I am to talk about the story of my grandfather. And I'm a proud grandson of the old man.
So for them, you don't really have the records. I know.
My father couldn't access the records, and we can't find it. I think my dad even lost his picture. He never grew up with his dad. So I don't even know how he looks like. It's a story I hardly talk about, but I carry his blood. And thank God I can stand at a better position to speak about him on an international platform.
Yes, the vision of HammerTime is to engage artists who are 10 years and above in the industry. And so far, I think you are number 137 of artists who are 10 years and above in the industry. And I decided to do this because I realized that my colleagues, they were not interested in the old guys because they are not trending. And I'm happy that most of them are now getting space in the media to express themselves. So most of them, they even have records. They have the passion to come back, but find the best still. That has been the problem. That's a few weeks ago, I took an award in New York for HammerTime. And I'm happy that people are really enjoying the show now. Engaging you today, I want to look at the musical side of welcome to the church. How do you prepare for shows?
First of all, let me talk about this 10 years and above. What people need to understand is music never expires. Music gets better and it gets better and it gets better. If you don't have a long-term vision, then you get stuck halfway down the line. However, you cannot trend forever. So you always have to plan ahead of time. That's all it is. That's a whole philosophy of music management. On record, I've gone past 10 years. On records, it's, I think, 12 years. But if I'm to calculate where I've gone past 10 years, and my philosophy of preparation is very simple. Taking every detailed information very serious. Number two, philosophy of preparation, never get familiar with your audience. In other words, what you heard me sing here, if you meet me there, you're not going to hear me sing it the same way I sang it here. I can change songs 35 times. Oh yes. My creative engine, in fact, my band members will tell you, in order to work with Sonnie Badu, you got to be creative, because he could change everything anytime and expect you to get it. My musical ears are very sharp. Most of the things you hear, I created everything, from hornsmen to guitars to everything. So I'm very hands-on with my music. That's why Baba Open the Floodgate has never faded out in almost 12 years, because you would never hear it the same. It's always changing. So my philosophy is paying attention to details during preparation and not taking any audience as ordinary, valuing that audience, and whatever you value, you prepare adequately for. And so till date, we're still feeling stadiums, arenas, 2019, before COVID, we packed out DAR Constitution with over 5,000 people. Paid concert. During the COVID time, we had a lot of virtual concerts, collaborating with the Ghana ambassador then. And then COVID is over. I've been to Ivory Coast. We did a outdoor event. I'm about to do New York Times Square. And the nothing has changed. We're getting better, and we're getting better, and we're getting better. We're not stopping now. We're just starting.
How do you hold your audience with a band? How do you sustain them?
Okay.
To be on their feet.
It's the power of creativity.
Okay.
It's the power of synergy. Once you're there to serve the audience. My team will tell you again, before every event, I prepare for that particular crowd. I want to find out what songs they love. I want to find out which of my songs they're familiar with. I do my research. Why? Because I understand the power of engaging. I cannot bring a song that I want to introduce to you by force, shove it under your neck, and lose your attention. So give me 4 hours, 5 hours, I can keep you going. And then I also make room for creativity.
Okay.
Trust me, with a New York concert, there's going to be a time I will create songs right there, which the audience can participate right there with the band. So it is always ever fresh and ever new when it's my concert. I enjoy it because the art of creativity is always applied.
Yeah, you're here with me and Sonnie Badu, Doctor. This is HammerTime. This show is brought to you by Betway, Transformation Beauty Salon, TUC Kumasi. Just go there, the best salon in town. And also NLA, Kandu Cosmetics, and MPG. Your playlist. How often do you sometimes change your playlist as you see the crowd?
My team will tell you again. I can give them a list of 60 songs.
Okay.
And it will change entirely because I just felt in my spirit we should go this way. I could give them a list again and take some out right there. Song number 4, 5, out. It's not coming in. We're going to 6. And they know my signs, they know my finger symbols, they know everything, they know what I'm saying, and we switch there. Why? Because I'm looking at the audience and I know what food to give to them. So it's just synchronizing with the atmosphere, engaging them, and ensuring you don't lose their attention. It's so much fun. I love it.
Okay, so let's come back to music. You're still in music. How many albums so far?
So we have Colors of Africa. That was the first one. Then I took time to pace it out, and sure, you see, it's not about how many albums you quickly release.
Okay.
You've got to know what audience and what platform you have. As Africans, a lot of mistakes people do is that they want to release an album every year. No, you're wrong. You can't do that. Otherwise, the new ones you release will sink the old ones. Why? We don't have enough mediums to project what you've released in 1 year. An American would release it and the whole world would play it. A lot of DJs will play it in Africa and they don't even know these artists. So the song travels everywhere. But as an African, you release a song and you have to hit the road yourself and make a lot of noise.
Yes,
this means that you could not walk according to the pace of these other guys who have all these platforms to project their songs. So I have Colors of Africa. It was incredible.
How many songs on the album?
I think we had about 30 songs, back-to-back medleys. That's what we had. Akuna Wakaitas. That album has hit millions. I've till date, I'm still high on Boom playlist. I'm tired of collecting the streamlining 3 million, 4 million till date. That album is 11 years old.
Yeah.
Till date, it's still leading streamliners. Okay. Then we did from Colors of Africa, we went to Sounds of Africa. That's when so with every album, there's a particular hit song that I know this one is it. This is what we're gonna do. So for Sounds for
Sounds of Africa.
Sounds of Africa. We knew the Hakuna would do. We knew the Eshe Oluwa, Eshe, that became big. We had a lot of songs on there. Then Rhythms of Africa.
That was last year?
Sounds of Africa. Colors of Africa. Then Sounds of Africa. We had My Soul Says Yes. That one went all over the world. I mean, all over the world. Then I made Jonathan Nelson. I featured Jonathan on Baba, Open the Floodgates. That also went skyrocket. Then from that album, we now started focusing on singles because we realized that based on how things were going, people were not really interested in albums anymore. That's when we're moving from CDs to digital now. So we sold a lot of CDs, but we realized that no, at this time, releasing album is a waste of time.
Right.
So we started releasing singles. Then I now did Rhythms of Africa. What am I doing? I'm still sticking to my genre. Colors of Africa, Sounds of Africa, Rhythms of Africa. So we have 3 solid albums, successful albums to our records. Okay, not including the singles, the Wonder Gods, the I Hail You, all that we've released, and it's been a blessing to the world.
Are you making money from music?
Oh my God. Let's just
your expenditure.
Let's just say some of these lands I own and these houses I have all over is out of my royalties from music. And so I made sure from this side of the world, everything was done properly. Everything was done very well. And so even if I die and go, my children's children will benefit from my music royalties.
Fame, how are you managing it?
I think fame comes with the job, but what helps me is I am an extreme introvert. People don't know that, but I'm a very quiet person. I don't like to talk. I only engage people in what I take interest in. That helps me to be quiet. So when the crowd is, oh my God, Sonnie, that literally makes me sink in quiet and go into my room or go quiet. But then when I have to play that part, sign autographs, take pictures, I have time for my audience. I can stand and take pictures with 2,000 people, sign autographs for 4,000 people, and still be there, make sure everybody's okay, because it's about them. It's not about me. So even when my team is like, you're tired, I'm like, nope, I gotta work. I'm here because of them.
Social media, a big problem when it comes to shades, trolls. Sometimes they comment to be, who will come after you. How do you do it?
It comes with the job, okay? What upsets me, okay, is sometimes the type and kind of people who just had a little credit on their phone, perhaps no light at home, and they have the audacity to push a word, to disrespect you, and then it's like a whole host of houseflies jump on what they've said and make it big. What I normally say is, if you're a brave man, come and stand in front of me and say what you want to say, because I'm not afraid to say that. However, those who are higher thinkers will always understand what I'm saying, because I'm not afraid to speak my peace of mind. I'm not afraid to speak the truth.
As a man of God, how do you advise the congregation or the people who watch you on the things they see on social media and the videos that they do on social media?
You've got to be responsible for whatever you say or you do. The good news here is that I hardly have members who would go and do that anyway.
Yeah.
So perhaps it's a good question to ask, to answer for the future. But social media is the new thing now. You've got to know how to control and handle social media to your advantage. I'll tell you what, I have solidified my audience. My audience are not too much on social media. They are the old school people, but they are loyals. New York will be packed. My loyal fans are my loyal fans. However, social media is the in thing. If you are not active on social media, people will think you're done. So you've got to always be current. Find things to get involved in. Find something to say which is current. That's why if they're not interested in the messages I've put on, I'll say something about football.
Yeah.
Or I'll give a word or a voice to something that's current. And you see 1,000 people coming, 2,000. I know exactly what I'm doing. I cannot be quiet. I've got to find something to say.
Reasons from Quick Action.
Come again?
Quick Action. You know Quick Action?
No.
An engineer, a sound engineer in Ghana.
Okay.
Anyway, he sends his greetings to you.
I appreciate
Okay, I want to talk about
some of them have different names, but I probably know them by another name or a different name, yeah. But
Joseph Appeal. Anyway,
please send him my love.
Let's talk about studio session.
Mm-hmm.
How do you write your songs? How do you get your lyrics? How often do you go to the studio to record?
I only go to the studio when I have a song. I don't go to the studio because I must record and I'm sitting there waiting. No. What I realized about my kind of ministry is I birth songs out of pain. Every song that has become a hit was birthed out of a circumstance, a situation, or an experience. And so with the experience I have, whatever I'm going through, I'm like, that's another opportunity for another song. And it comes naturally. One of the songs I wrote last year, I Have Confidence in You. I was at a very bad place. Listen.
Very bad place.
Very bad place. Very, very bad place. And I told the team I wanted to record Rhythms of Africa. They're like, are you sure? I said, yeah, I want to. They said, no, you don't look emotionally ready. I said, I'll do it. And I broke down when I was recording it. But everything I said, my team knew to tell the engineer, press record. And when we played it after, everything made sense. And that song is one of my biggest songs I've ever written. I Have Confidence. So how I write my songs is, if there is nothing to write about, I'll not write about anything. Most of the songs I write are about my life, my story, or an event that I went through, that God brought me out. I had to tell a story to help somebody come out of it.
The bad place, was it family oriented? Was it business?
I will talk about it after the show.
After the show?
It was bad. Hammer. It was bad. It was bad.
Who entertains the entertainer?
Sometimes you have to encourage yourself. The Bible says, and David encouraged himself in the Lord. At that time, everybody just left it. But God came through. Oh my God, he came through. But that trauma, I'm still traumatized by that event. I still have not recovered.
Oh, really?
I'm telling you.
How long did it take?
2 years. I still have not recovered. I don't talk about it, but I still have not recovered from it.
What's the best advice you got from dad?
My father.
That rings a bell.
My dad. If you go anywhere, any place, whatever they give you, say thank you and walk away.
Mom?
Mom, never forget to say thank you to God. In fact, whatever you do, she'll be the first to come and say, hey, even if I make a statement on social media, Mama will text me and say, hey, make sure you glorify God first. They are so super spiritual, it's just not funny. But they've been my lifeline. They've shaped my life. And they're so proud of me. And I'm proud of them too.
Wow.
Yeah.
Age when I identify your talent
from childbirth. They apparently, when you listen to my stories, apparently I was just musically inclined. At the age of 5, I would take mommy's stuff and in the kitchen and be playing rhythms and be playing music, making music. They all knew it. What my dad also did which was really good, is he bought me a lot of instruments. He engaged my visual cortexes and auditory cortexes. So I was always around music. And I bless God for what they did for me.
So both of them were okay with you doing music?
It got to a stage, they changed my journey. I still think they should have made me do it. But that's when they decided to take me to a building construction school, GSTS, and to study building construction. I mean, I love that, but I think I should have gone further with the music, and I would have become an even more creative musician. Now I play stuff with my brains and my mouth, but I struggle to play. And I think it's because my mom, my dad didn't focus on what they needed to do.
Looking at your personality, your charisma, why your larger audience old school?
Old school.
Yeah. Because I think you appeal to the youth. Oh?
I think I'm very blessed with all genres.
Okay.
I'm very blessed with all generations. I have a huge amount of old school. I have a huge amount of youth, and I have a huge amount of kids, like the New York concert. You would see all kinds of people there. And I think I've been able to feed every set of generation with what they truly need. I'm able to still live in 2022 and give them what they need and still go back to the old school and sing my hymns and get them there. I think it's about knowing your audience, knowing times and seasons, and knowing what to deliver, which God has blessed me with.
A lot of people know you to be a musician. When did the pastoral thing start?
It started for people when they saw it, but it's always been around. In fact, for the past 10 years, I've been preaching more than I've been singing. What I did was I didn't let the world see the preaching side because I wanted them to focus on my music. 10 years ago, if they saw me going round to preach, my music wouldn't have been effective because based on where I'm coming from, Rebecca said, preaching also be preaching. So I was preaching. My itinerary from January to December was jam-packed, but then I always projected the musical side. 10 years ago, I knew 10 years to come, I was going to plant this church. I knew it. I've lived more in America than I lived in London, but I made people think I lived in London. Even with my wedding, I only got to London 3 days before my wedding. I finished it and flew back to America. But I had to let the audience assume that I lived in London, because at that time, I needed them to focus on the music and not the preaching side. When it was time to start the church, I announced it. People said, oh, he's just starting. No, I've been doing it for many years. And you've been here. Yeah. Does this look like something we just started?
No.
We've been around 4 years. A lot of people have been around 20 years, 15 years, 10 years. What we've done in 4 years, they haven't done that. Even take out 2 years of COVID, where we had to shut down churches. Because at a point in time, we could not fit into this building. COVID hit, of course, some people had to stay home. But now, we can see that we're building it back again. So it's about forecasting and having a plan ahead of time, which I've always done.
Who is your godfather?
My godfather.
Yes.
My godfather.
Who inspired you to establish a church?
I think it's my biological father. He always told me I will definitely establish a church. I was just waiting for God's timing, and God made it clear it was time. I was in Dallas preaching, and I heard him clearly. He said, it's time. I said, I'm not interested. And I heard him clearly. I got to Atlanta. He showed me where it was. When I got there, my landlord then was a Spanish man. He came out and said, I've been waiting for you. Oh, that's a whole miracle altogether, how it all happened. And we stayed there for 1 year. After the 1 year, I moved the church here, renovated this place, and we've been here for 3 years, going 4 years. But it'll be our 5th year, 2023. So I think I've always had a master plan. Even planning when my children will come, when they'll be born, where they'll be born. Everything has been planned. I know exactly what I'm doing.
Did you study under anyone?
Ministry.
Bishop, yeah, the ministry.
Of course, Pastor Kingsley APJ in London. I served him in Trinity for almost 20 years. He's my spiritual father. Man of integrity, a man of great excellence. Most of the things I do in terms of excellence, it's him. Before I do it, I've got to pass it by him. Dad, what do you think? You'd say, no, take it out or don't. I remember one of my Sounds of Africa album. There was a hymn that was playing. With countless gifts of joy and still is all praise and thanks to God. And then I spoke in tongues. I was like, Labo Shabala Gayada and all of that. Then he said, son, take that out. Yeah. He said, take the tongues out. That's my spiritual father. I said, yes, Dad.
Did you ask him why?
No. You see, let me tell you. God puts people in your life. When God has put a father in your life, you obey before you complain. You don't complain before you obey. Sometimes they don't even know why they're saying it. You understand? I understand that philosophy. I've served him 20 years. If he says, don't bring this song out, I will not even. Later on, I said, Dad, you said it, but why did you say that? Then if he wants to explain it, he will. But I trust him so much, and I trust the God that speaks through him to me so much, that the moment he said, take it out, I took it out. Then later on, I said, Dad, why did you let me take it out? He said, your album is a global album. How many global albums have you heard the artists speaking in tongues? I said, no. He said, you see, I'm not even in your field, but I know this. And he was right. I took it out. And that's what the global market requires. There's certain things the industry market will not require, irrespective of how spiritual you are. You can't be shabalaba shebele. No, it doesn't work that way. So that's why even with songs that you record, they also have the radio play. There are rules and regulations for the international industry, and these are things that people don't know. So my spiritual father has been very instrumental in my life.
Social responsibilities. You don't know what taking so far.
With the job and the role I play, I'm a jack of all trades.
Okay.
Because a lot of people coming over for counseling, for all sorts of things.
Okay.
I jump in anywhere I'm needed, everywhere. I don't even limit myself to it.
Yeah, besides that question, because of mental health. Have you thought of it before? Mental health, it looks like you're correct. You go for correct, but you maybe my own are correct. Maybe the intro, you introduce one DNA. Is it spiritual or so? Most of the time you read meaning to it. Till you fear by four,
Mature I've written 50 books.
Yeah.
And one of the books I have is on personalities.
Right.
And I've done a lot of messages on that. COVID really exposed people who had serious mental health.
Right.
Because everything around everybody was locked down. Now, one of the things with people with mental health, they say, once you give them a limitation, it triggers something.
Right.
If you confine them into a space, it triggers a lot. That is why there was a lot of murder cases at homes. Couples divorced. Husband shoots wife. Wife kills husband. Because it triggered a lot. It became a problem seeing a person, a spouse, 24/7 without not doing anything. You can't go out. It triggered a lot of mental issues. Mental health is real. With people in this side of the world, they're able to detect it quick sometimes. Sometimes with people in Africa, we don't have the facilities to detect that unless or you're walking on the streets naked. But disorder, personality disorder is also another kind of mental health. There's some people who have serious paranoia complex, mental health. Or suspect too. They think somebody is
after them.
Somebody is saying something evil about them. They are paranoid. Mental health. If I go into the different categories of mental health, You will be a yaro, baby. I'm telling you, there is this narcissistic behavior. It is also another type of mental health. A lot of pastors have that narcissistic behavior. A lot of husbands have that narcissistic disorder. Or dreams a normal, a mental health. In fact, here it is categorized as you need to go on medication. Or see a drama on alpha. You know, no be a narcissist. He feels insecure. He feels like he has to be the center of attention. If the attention goes anywhere else, they have a problem. You know, even if it's their business partner, their wife, or whoever taking over, they want to be ahead. They intimidate people. They make people feel less on themselves, but that makes them feel good about themselves. It's a narcissistic behavior. You have a disorder, and it is also to do with mental health. So you see, there are different categories of mental health that a lot of people, you can have a CEO who has mental health, but onim so will be, you gotta get that book. I'm telling you, when I taught about this book, it opened all of our eyes. In fact, everybody at church, everybody took their madness and said, this part I'm mad, here, this is my norm. And these are all disorders that has to do with mental challenges. Of course, there are some that are to the extreme. I mean extreme, where they hear voices. I've had people come in here and they came because they want deliverance. What's the problem? Onama or two voices. Something is telling you jump out of your car, go and jump over the cliff. No, serious stuff I deal with. Some of the people you see quiet, they were delivered from mental health.
Okay, so Adom Mental Rehabilitation Center, Kumasi, a state of the mental health in Ghana. This year, and we'll definitely reach out to you.
I would love to get involved. I understand human psychology. I am a psychologist as well. I love the periods of recovery where you gotta help people to recover from whatever. Sometimes people hit mental health because of past trauma that they could not discuss, things that they could not confine in people. It now grows. There's some people, they have to outlet whatever they're going through, because the more they create a processive mechanism, the more it affects them. Can I also tell you something? That mental health can also be hereditary, where people inherit it from their parents, their grandparents. I know a family that all the men have that issue. So these are all things that before you deal with it, you got to find out. So of course there is that demonical side of it, where you got to pray for that person, cast that demon out, and then now help that person to recover mentally. And I have pastors in place that I know how, based on their personality, how they can engage, or how I instruct them to engage with these particular sets of people.
What does it take to establish a church?
If it was easy, everybody would do it. It takes a lot of sacrifice and commitment, and be ready to be lonely. Yes, sir. It takes a lot of sacrifice if you want to do it well. I've literally spent more money in 4 years in ministry, because sometimes you're left alone to do it. If I come in here and the power has gone off, I'm not calling nobody. I have to pay it. There's been times where we got in and internet had gone off, and the admin will come, Daddy, we need a favor, there's no money in the church account. And I've done this several times, but it comes with it. At the end of the day, is your vision.
Okay.
So if it's your vision, you gotta fight for it. Of course, you'll get some people who they just feel to be a part of this vision, and they will be a part. But I can tell you this, out of 100 people, you just get one person that literally believes in that. It takes a lot of sacrifice. Listen, I've mastered the art 4 years now. There are certain shoes, certain shirts I've worn for 4 years. Not that I cannot afford anything. Yes, I can. But Hammer, you got to think about all of that. How to make sure, even the band, you got to take every week. I spend not less than $800 just on musicians. Every week.
The crew.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Every week. I ain't never know how much is coming in for you to. Yeah, but every week, for 4 years. In fact, before COVID, some of my musicians were on $700 a week.
Yeah.
When I started Rock Hill Church, yeah. When I started, I was flying some of my sound engineers from Maryland just to come for a service and then leave. I did that for almost 7 months because I believe in excellence and I believe in doing things well. So when I say sacrifice, this is what I'm talking about. Of course, commitment. You've got to be committed to it. Even if you don't feel like doing it, you've got to stand and do it. Of course, you pray and hope for those who will believe in it and those who believe in them, to trust them, to stand in your gap when you want to just take a quick break. So sacrifice and commitment. And then you pray for God's favor, because there are a lot of churches everywhere.
Yeah.
You need favor before the people. The people have to just love you, to be with you. In spite of your errors, in spite of your mistakes, they've got to stay with you. So it's a very lonely place. It's a very depressing place as well. When you win one soul as a member, it's like a trophy. I trust me, you've got to be very patient as well. My son, actually, he's been with me for almost 10 years. He came here, and then during our concerts, I was very calm this time around. I was literally just quiet. So he comes to me and he's like, Daddy, that's what's the sound. He was telling the drummer, Daddy, Daddy's changed. If it was the Badu we know, he would tell you, get out of the instrument, go rehearse before you come. But now, because of the church, it's made me more of a father. I understand foolishness. I understand how somebody can just make a mistake and expect you to deal with it. So I'm more calmer, I'm more patient. You got to walk with a lot of wisdom. I have about 12 pastors underneath me. The youngest pastor is about 48. The elders is about 71. You see, so you need to walk in a certain type of wisdom in order for these people to trust your leadership. So it comes with a lot of work, but above all, you need God in everything you do.
Some people come to church for spiritual help, or physical help, in terms of money, in terms of assistance in so many ways. Who qualifies for Rock Hill Fund?
How did you know about Rock Hill Fund?
Because I'm part of the church now.
So when we started church,
Okay.
of course, you got to make rooms for errors and all of that. People will come in and say, oh my God, I'm stranded. You know, they'll start coming to church for about a month, and then they'll tell you they're stranded. And you know, their story, you know me, my heart is, oh Jesus, just tell me a story and I'll just have to find something. And then you take about $1,000, pay for everything, pay for the accommodation, pay for this, and then within 3 months, they disappear. You know, and I was taking these things from my pocket because you want to be a pastor, you want to help everybody. Then God told me it's foolishness. Stop it. If you don't develop that tough heart, tough skin, you will be abused. So this is what God gave me. This is the idea God gave me. Every month, because the church is also young, I didn't want to hurt my pocket. Every month, every member contributes something.
Okay.
$20. And so we put your name down, we record your name. Should in case there be bereavement, you lose a family member, you're going through certain challenging moments, we will be able to take a certain amount, not your demanded amount, a certain amount to help you. I pray nothing happens to anybody, right? Because when nothing happens, it rolls over. It rolls over. It rolls over. And we call that the Rockwell Fund.
Okay.
That's why I asked you, how did you know about that? So, of course, being in leadership, you've got to always create a system that will begin to work for itself. And they know that if you're not a regular Rockwell Fund giver and you have a problem, it's on your head, because you never know when trouble will hit your door. And by the grace of God, religiously, everybody does what they need to do. Pastor Jack is in charge of that. And so that's how we give help to people. And of course, now I've also built a barrier. First, I used to let people talk to me direct, and if they did, there was no way I could say no, right? Of course, I have to have something in my pocket, no matter what. I'll give you an example. Somebody came, I was praying to God for a seed. God, I need money. I don't have anything on me. That's what I literally depend on. Every time I pray, God sends somebody to come and be a blessing. So somebody came into my office, gave me, I think, $300. I'm like, yeah, I got $300. I stepped out. And when I stepped out, I was told that this young lady had traveled from some far white place. She didn't have a place to live. She wanted to stay in the church. Hey, what are you doing here? You know, and I looked at her. I'm like, where are you from? I realized she was Ghanaian. Now that hit another nerve because that's my own person. So what do? We did not trust that girl. I personally didn't trust the girl. So we kind of called her mother. It was a bit complicated. In short, I had to split the money into two and give her cash. Let her find a hotel. I made protocol, drop her at the no, I think they didn't drop her. We showed her where the hotel was because we don't want you to sit in the car and then, you know, cause any problems. So she walked to the hotel and we gave her a place to stay, you know, and we said goodbye. But so people don't give me money anymore because they know that if they give it to Papa will give it out to somebody. Yeah. But it comes with the job. I enjoy what I do.
Are people abusing it?
Oh, no.
So you started this fund, like in a year. Let's say you have 5K in your coffers. How are you managing this into the end of the year?
You see, you cannot. It's a very interesting question, but here it is. In a month or 2 months, things could be perfect. The next month, things could be turbulentic. Everybody could come and they could be in trouble, right? And you would have to go in and go in and go in. So you're hopeful. You hope nothing happens. That's why I'm praying for you, right? But then we deal with it as things go. Of course, we have a limitation to individuals. So there's a certain amount. Once you cross that for the year, you can't come back again. You know what I mean, baby? Oh, you know, that's when people begin to abuse it. But I'm blessed with good people. I'm very blessed with good people, and I know all of them. So I know it when they are in need. I know it as a father. I know what they're going through, and by the grace of God, we are able to meet their need. So it's not like any stranger can come from outside and say, I don't have money, and no, we'll show you where to go to find. Not here. Yeah. If you don't do that, you will be abused.
Shows, tours. What does it take? Requirement to have you on a show? Because I know you have a team.
I travel with a football team, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. You see, what people don't know is that I do shows based on relationship.
Okay.
My show could be just me or as many as 30 people.
Yeah.
It depends on how I feel about the person. And if I'm at that stage where we have a lot of invitations, but I literally sit down and I tell the team, I want to do this. I don't want to do this because it takes a lot of my time. It takes a lot of my energy. I'd rather be here in church, being a blessing to my team, staying home with my family, than getting up to travel somewhere and, hey, it's not, I've gone, my papa. Yeah. So it depends. It could be from a 3-piece band, like I have a concert in December in Akwa Ibom State, Lagos. All they're flying me to go and do is 3 of my songs. I'm going with just 2 musicians because it's a whole choir. I'm going with Donnie, Hezekiah Walker, and some other guys. And then I did Asaba. That one I went with about 10 people. And then I did Ivory Coast. I went with 30 people from Canada, from America, from Ghana, from Nigeria. So it depends on whatever it is, and we give you a budget. If you can meet it, we hit it. If you want to do something, of course we're brothers. I know how to cut corners for you. I know how to tell the team, leave it. He's going to do it this way, we do it that way. or make sure he's happy. So it all depends.
Would I say your show in Abidjan, was it Abidjan? Yeah. Was the most challenging shows you have ever?
Every show of mine has its own challenge. If you followed me historically, every show, I remember doing the National Theater, the biggest challenge was people could not go in there. They had to kick people back home. I remember 2007 or 2009. Then we went to the Dome. Do you remember? Right after Sarkodie's gig, I said I want to do that one. And also, people could not fit. Those who were outside were more than those who were inside. Mano Peli. I went to say they wanted to do this fireworks thing, and the Mano can't say. I said Jatum Webenede. The moment I started, the band was there. They did that fireworks. You hear the curtain, and the curtain caught fire. Then I realized that the Dome only had one exit. So I'm standing in front of, I think, 4,000, 5,000 people. They've seen fire burning right behind me. But I knew that if I panicked, there was going to be a stampede. So my band were saying, Daddy, it's burning. And I told them, we're still singing. So it kept the crowd quiet for 5 minutes. And that's all I needed, hoping that the fire service would come in quick and do something. Because if it's just one exit, 4,000 people, if I said fire, we're going to have a problem. Of course, I had to apply experience. I was singing, smiling, but I was looking at the organizers like, what are you guys doing? Guess what happens? The fire service guy comes. I think that was his first day at work.
Oh.
Hammer. Akwani be an idea and extinguisher. Oh, me, I know the Guyi na show stages. All my players, he just literally extinguished everybody on the stage, including our instruments and everything. Now the thing is gone, but everything is white. Every instrument is white, and the guys are looking at me like, what do we do? I turned around and I said, we are still going. Nobody stops, and they didn't stop. They know it. If I say don't stop, don't stop. I'm the commander general in charge. Whatever I say is final. And it was a great concert, but that was the challenge. Take me to Accra Sports Stadium. Oh my God, we got everything ready. The whole place was ready. 11 p.m. I'm getting ready to go. It starts raining cat and dog. The whole place is flooded. I was in my hotel, I remember, Holiday Inn, and I was called by the organizers to make a decision. Are we closing the show or are we not? Then I said, I'll still do the show. I thought people had left, but I was like, listen, people have paid to be here. Guess what? We got to the stadium and people were standing in the rain.
Waiting for you.
Open the floodgate. They were screaming, praying, holding hands. Ministers of stage, actors, actresses, they were all soaked. Oh my God, that was like, oh my God, this is incredible. That show till date is one of the most memorable concerts I've ever had. We left Accra Sports Stadium to go to Kumasi Sports Stadium. We thought we were going to have a good one. Well, guess what? This time, the rain is times 2. It rained so bad that the tent we were in, the rain literally sunk into the tent, broke the tent. All the water fell on the instruments, dropped on the instrument, and all those instruments on stage were mine. I literally shipped them to Ghana for my concert. Half of the instruments were gone. I was to make that decision again. Do you want to go ahead or you wouldn't? You see me, I told the crowd. and the beautiful thing is I told the team, so we had merchandises, we had t-shirts. I took every t-shirt of the band, we started cleaning the stage, wiping the stage, and that's when, I'll give you the video. Reverend Yosin, Abeku Santana, SP, is it DSP now? DSP Kofi Sapon. Everybody was leading worship in the audience. Oh my God, in the rain. Now, I told them we're starting at 1 a.m. but Kaise insurable electrical. So my guys went on, and every time they were playing, Charlie, they were getting electrocuted. My dancers will jump and slip off the stage. Obi to be someone something that, which I know before you show. But that concert, the healing, the power. Oh, and guess what? The cameras were not working. The rain hit the cameras in Accra. The rain destroyed the cameras in Kumasi, and that's the problem I've always had. My cameramen are not able to capture the true, picture of what happened. And so the rain messed it up, but it was one of the most memorable concerts. Then you have Ivory Coast. Everything is ready, but I told the team, the rain follows me everywhere I go.
Now you are used to rain.
Oh yeah. The moment I get to open the forget. It's your better. Oh,
it is no problem.
It is a same way inviting me. I want to make umbrella. So have you got an umbrella for me and my people? Because it's gonna rain. Once I stand there, it will rain. It doesn't matter what weather, it will rain.
You have a song for rain?
I have If This Is Your Power, Let It Rain. I have Open the Floodgate, Let It Rain. And so, but Ivory Coast, I knew it could rain, but I made them check the weather. They said, perfect weather. So, okay. But I told my band, in case it rains, this is what we're gonna do. I think when we got to, I've never seen this kind of before. If I'm a bit bono. This breeze kind of went through me. I was like, Jesus, is about to rain. I felt that breeze, that breeze that comes before the rain. If I'm on that point, I'm saying,
trouble.
Then it started drizzling. Now, I was caught in between. Do I cut this show off? End of the day, my Jimmy CKV. Monsieur Natoya collected my money. It's not me. Sorry, sir. Call me again. That's what any other person would have done. But I looked at the crowd. I looked at the organizers. I said, I took off my shoes. My shoes, no. And I turned to the band and I told them, we're going manual. And I said, manual, I mean, we're using every drum. We're using every trumpet. We're using, because I knew the rain was going to mess up the keyboards and the computers. So if you listen to the set, we switched to manual, and my goodness, the crowd took the chairs, put it on their head. I jumped in the rain with them. The microphone said, I told my I was not going to stop. The sound engineer, I flew Frankie from Ghana to and I remember the sound guy was like, stop the show. Sending your
machines, yeah.
I was looking at him like, I can't. I will not. I mean, the best thing to do is to stop. You collected your money, but hey, I looked at them. I was like, no. I did 3 hours in the rain.
Wow.
With the crowd.
Wow.
I was drenched wet. 3 hours in the rain non-stop. And it was one of my best concerts ever.
Wow.
Yeah.
I watched the video.
It was incredible.
Is there a competition between singers and pastors in some churches?
There can never be a competition.
I'm asking this because I didn't come over break. I said, I saw you now to my pastors and people so much conscious.
And yet competition, I think. No, I know what you're trying to say, but I think they lack literacy in that area. Okay. And sometimes they feel subduing you is the right way of making them feel powerful. But you're actually a good person when you bring a gift out. So, for me, I don't really believe in that. If you've served a pastor as a musician, as a worship leader for more than 5 years, 6 years, and your life has not elevated, he has not invested in you, he has not even given you an amount of money to go to the studio, to do something with your life and he hasn't stood to support you, told his church members to support you, then you've got to leave. I'm not afraid. You've got to leave, because they will waste your gift and get another person to replace you. And then if you were on payroll, they'll tell the accountant, they normally don't do it themselves. So the wicked accountant who has a stiff face, he's the one that will tell you, we can't pay you anymore. They'll frustrate you out, force you to now react. Then they say, you've rebelled. You're here. You cannot be serving in the church for about 4 years, and it's like it's all about, I'm so sorry, a preacher man. No, things should be put in place. Those who have that extreme gift, you've got to take pride. Go to Nigeria. Most of these pastors are literally projecting all their musicians. Look at Pastor Chris. Pastor Chris Ray Sinach, Eben, Joe Praise, Moses Bliss. All these people are from Christ Embassy. And Pastor Chris has a yearly award show. Lima. Whoever wins the song of the year, you receive $100,000 in your bank account.
Wow.
$100,000 in your bank account. Tomorrow morning, the next day, and the song or artist of the year is this person. $100,000. That Lima award, one award is $10,000. Into Chatria, $30,000. This man does it every year. Every year. Why do you think his sons and daughters are bringing out hits? Because even within their own home, they are made to push further. They're made to work hard. Okay? Look at Pastor Paul Adefarison. He does experience and will put his musicians on there. Out of Pastor Paul, most of these artists have gotten a global audience, a global voice because of Pastor Paul. Look at Pastor Biodun, Fatoyinbo, Koza. He's built all his musicians. Okay, I want to find out one Ghanaian pastor that can say, well, we have Reverend Kranchiankra, we have MOG, but look at the amount of pastors we have, power-packed, anointed pastors, and ask me how many sons in music have they raised?
You don't find them.
Yet when they're singing, they depend on these boys or these young ladies to literally, when they're ministering, they depend on them to lead worship. So I think a lot of attention, a lot of spotlight should be drawn to help them. It's not a competition. It's even you look better when you take care of a child, a son or a daughter.
Chatting some of these musicians concerns me, say, we feel say sure you start singing for other churches. They don't stay in your church.
So if they push you, where do they want you to go and sing? Come on, think about it.
Yeah.
If Opushua, if an oppressor could them the bedroom, Nasaso, and the living room. No. If you have that global call, of course, allow them to go and sing anywhere. Let people invite them. I have a bunch of superstars here. I have Jaden Arnold. He's one of the biggest organ players in the whole of America. Jaden, in a month, you see him 3 times. I'm aware that my son has to go to other platforms to minister. When he comes Tuesday, you see him here, leading worship. Sundays, whoever needs him, my son, go. I have Tario. Tario plays for Akon, Tario is always in my concerts. But sometimes in the whole year, he's on a tour. But then make him a tights, not Tario, send him a tights. Say, Papa, this is yours. Thank you so much for praying for me. You have Tamika Patton, who is one of the greatest singers in America, and she's my worship pastor. And she got to be here, but she got to be invited. In fact, I'm praying for people to invite them. Of course, in my own platform too. I put them on there. So you cannot say be a superstar or be a global icon, but you're not permitted to travel anywhere. Of course, there are some who have the gift, but are for the church, local church. And there are others who have the global grace. It's up to the pastor to detect. Imagine Joe Mettel in his church and the pastor saying you're not allowed to travel. How is the world going to experience and enjoy Joe Mettel? You understand? So Joe finishes, he goes back to his church, sits down on a Sunday if he's free. That's how it's supposed to be.
Yesterday, prophecy time, how do you deliver the message? Because sometimes and simple how as a tough. You can't go all out to say the things you see. How do you do it? Because some people will just say it as it is and they cause problems at homes. What do you understand?
Okay, so first of all, I've been around the prophetic gift for many years. Over 25 years ago when most of these prophets started coming to London, I was the one they will call to help them with their churches. I'm not going to mention names, but all the major prophets, you can ask them. I was the one they will call on to literally lift up worship or build their choir. I've been around them for a long time. Number two, the one that my father named him after is one of the greatest prophets that was ever born from Kumasi, a friend Sonnie Badu.
Okay.
His church was World Key of Christ. In their time, he died in the 80s. He was one of the greatest prophets. So the seed of prophetic was already inside of me. I just needed to be around prophets for the seed to grow. So when it came into its full force, in the fullness of time, I've stood around, I've educated myself. I know the good, the bad, and ugly. Okay? And there's something called word of knowledge and there's something called word of wisdom. Okay? Now, word of knowledge is you hearing what God is telling you concerning Hammer. Word of wisdom is God will show you the raw screen, or the angel you're operating with will show you the screen. Word of wisdom is checking the maturity of Hammer and knowing how to speak in a coded language that Hammer will understand without causing confusion. That's word of wisdom. Without causing confusion, without causing scare, and without causing fear, and without causing panic. Because most of the time, most of these immature prophets rather put fear on people, and you say, oh, Ubabe, you're going to die tomorrow. And it's your mouth that killed that person. It wasn't even in their destiny for them to die. So what you witnessed yesterday was me applying or combining word of knowledge and word of wisdom. Understanding the mindset and the maturity level of the people I'm operating with, and knowing how to present the story without causing confusion or without causing a problem within a family.
Which of the musical instruments do you play best?
Drums.
You used to be a drummer for one of these gospel music. Was it Victoria Sefo?
Never played a drum for anybody, is a lie.
You know Victoria?
I know Auntie Victoria.
You play for her? Like any of the concerts?
Never played for her.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I got Jesus Casa from her. Yeah, I'm very close to
in UK,
them.
right?
Of course. They would come to UK and sometimes we would drive them, like giving them a lift, or
that's exactly what she said. He said, Sonnie Badu was a drummer, okay. Treated me so well anytime I'm in UK, he drives me around. Okay.
Not drive as a chauffeur.
I know. Chauffeur. I mean, he said, the time.
No, taken like you're here.
Yeah.
Mr. Isaac has left everything he's doing to make sure you're comfortable.
Exactly what she said.
Hosting you really well. Yeah. And she is such an incredible person. In fact, Jesus Casa, which I recorded with Darren Hobbs, I made sure I bought it off her. I just wanted to do something different with it. And they gave me their blessing. May her husband's soul rest in peace. But great woman. I've never played for any other person, but then I'm a drummer.
Okay, so time is running out. So let me conclude with this church, Rock Hill, Stone Mountain, Atlanta. 4 years. Do you get time to accept invitations to other churches? And if so, what do you look at before you accept such invitation to those churches?
So I'm very big in church development. Of course, in this stage of my life, I have to be a husband.
Yeah.
I have 5 children. My eldest daughter is 18.
Right.
My last one will know 3 months, as I say.
Well,
nanu ya ma wo 5 at all. What you know? Father, there be many break COVID no ya so yes. 2 net was COVID babies. So I have that. I have the church. It's still young. And so I'm very selective of where I've got to go in order not to waste my time.
Right.
Because every second means a lot to me. So let me give you my week. Sunday morning, we have Zoom service. That's for all our e-church members. They're all over the world, so they just log on, and I've got to have the service. And we have Sunday afternoon wisdom service. Sunday evening empowerment service. Monday, day off, family time, wife and kids. I serve them. I cook for them. Listen, whatever you want daddy to do, I'm here. I'm not going nowhere. I don't even move the car. I'm here. Tuesday, night of deliverance. That's what you saw. That could go about 2 a.m., right?
Yeah.
Wednesday, if I have a conference, I'm flying out Wednesday morning. Get to the place Wednesday afternoon, preaching Wednesday night, Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday morning, flying Sunday afternoon.
Yeah, you mentioned about playing football. Did you play football professionally?
Not professionally. So in school, GSTS,
Okay.
I got injured. And I think that's when I lost interest. Perhaps God did that for a reason. Because I wouldn't be preaching by now. And if I hadn't been preaching, let's see what would have happened. Okay, so, but a lot of people, a lot of my friends, old mates, they were like, if this guy had played football, he would have definitely gone into the records of Ghana football as one of the best.
You have time to follow football?
I follow Ghana Premier League a lot. Because of a free the Hasselhoff player, my friend, a free Bani. Yeah, he's in Hats, but I'm not a Phobia fan.
Oh, okay.
I'm an Asante Kotoko fan. I don't know any of the players, but I'm just a Kotoko fan, you know. Fabulous. Because my dad was a Kotoko fan and my mom was Phobia. And, you know, there was always that Kotoko in the house many, many years ago. Now it's not fun, but I think they're bringing the love back. So I follow that a lot. Of course, Premier League, my nose is in there. Most of the players, they've left the Premier League now. They were my boys. Of course, the La Liga and all of that, I have some of my boys in there. So I'm very much keen in that. And some of them we pray together before they go. You know, sometimes I have to psych them. I remember when Igalo, the world was against Igalo during the World Cup. And that was one of the toughest seasons in our lives. Because every time he would finish a game and everybody was trolling him, I'd literally put his picture out and encourage him. I was talking to him 24/7, making sure, because I've been, when Igalo was in Watford, right on to him going to China, and now in Saudi Arabia. We're like this. Igalo would go on holiday, come on holiday and live in my house here in Atlanta. And I've been part of his journey. That's when I got to know that psychology plays a big role in soccer. And so when he now went to the AFCON and won the Go King and all of that, that was the greatest achievement for all of us. And he's a legend. So I'm very much hands full on football.
Talking about football, do you have some more knowledge about football? No? What's Ghana's selection to the Black Star team now? Do you think the selections are fair? I mean, the people we call to the national team.
I think, sir, every coach that comes into a team has his style of play. Mourinho has his defensive style of play. Guardiola has his attacking style of play. That's the first thing you look at before you choose a coach. And then when the coach comes in, he selects the kind of players he wants based on his style of play. Of course, with the national team now being Black Stars, Otuado style of play, Papa, because we kind of didn't know which team he was with. I know he was with Dortmund, but I don't know which team that he's coached for you to say, Chris, you know Chris's style of play, like how to, but we don't know about Otuado. And number two, you can't use the last Ghana-Nigerian game to literally, come to a conclusion about his style of play. Because whether you like it or not, Ghana, Nigeria, we have this rivalry. He's been in soccer for a long time. If you've been around soccer, Ghana, Nigeria, we have rivalries and energy. We have team support, and Ghana normally wins against Nigeria. It doesn't matter what you do, and it's normally 2-1. And normally Ombeshe first. They will score first because they start as intimidating and then we relax. That was when we had a lot of skillful players. Ghanaians have a lot of skills, And so, for me, I'm yet to conclude on Otuado.
Okay.
He's now been successful in calling all our players who are in the Premier Leagues, the Tariq Lampteys and the Naki Williams in the Spanish League and all of that. However, do we have enough time for him to bond these players together? Because, Hammer, listen, if we bond, we can even walk on our blind side and know how to communicate. I can literally have my head down and know that Hammer would be running on the right-hand side. I've got to just kick the ball there. This is what you call flair in football. It's a language, and we all also have to have a common language. Oh, somebody will say, now Premier League, Spanish, how does he play with? They have teachers there. They have teachers on board. Brofono, they teach them English. They have classrooms that he's going to be 3 hours in the classroom just to learn Spanish or learn English, because they believe in languages. If you speak the same language, if you're playing in Spain and you're Ghanaian, ask the players. They have some lessons. Teacher will come to your house and teach you how to understand the common languages for soccer. Do we have these players who can understand the same language? Because some of them are Dutch, some of them are German, some of them are English, some of them. Do we have enough time to bond them all? I saw Sir Willicott. He didn't say a word. Like, have you ever seen Willicott speak on the screen? No. Now, as football, if the captain is commanding at the front or wherever he is, the next commander is the goalkeeper. Right? This guy is not saying a word. He's a great shot stopper. He's very agile, very sharp. I love that. Does he have that experience not to even be starstruck when Ronaldo is standing there? Because one of the problems we could have is, oh my God, that's Ronaldo. Oh my God, I've tackled Ronaldo. No. I loved what Kudus did to Neymar. Neymar was trying to mess with Kudus. Kudus with Fyoko. Yeah, that's the attitude. You need an attitude when you get on there, because he's in the Champions League. Neymar is in the Champions League. Now, this young man is in a lesser league. Not to disrespect or debang, but if he is that good enough, then he should be in a bigger league, right? Not to disrespect again. Let's say he's very loyal to that team, right? But then we need the right psychological doctors to help him, because this is World Cup now. It's very different from any league you play. This is welcome. Some people are coming there and that's their last World Cup ever. They're not here to play games. And I definitely don't want Ghana to be mocked. 5-0, 6-0, not for there. It's going to be such an embarrassment. So it's not they are young players, we're going to start picking them up and helping them. No. Let's get it right.
Are we ready? Is Ghana ready for this tournament? Yes or no? Before we continue. Is Ghana ready? Psychologically, are we ready? Let's take the question one by one.
Psychologically,
are we ready?
Psychologically, we're not.
Physically,
we are.
We have the energy.
We do, because we have a lot of young players in there who will run. But you see, if you don't tell them where to run to, they'll keep running. Then they'll burn their energy. Why do you think Italians will put the old players in? And they will waste your time. When it's the 60th minute, they'll bring a younger blood and they use experience. Score you, right? Football is about the brain, not too much of the energy. Otherwise, you waste your energy and get tired and look stupid. But physically, they are ready. We have some strong players.
Can we go far? group stages. Yes or no before we continue?
You're putting me on the spot. It's a video way. Whatever answer I give, when they go far, they'll say Sonnie Badu. Hear me. Based on
can we go past group stages?
Me prophet will answer. But based on what we saw with Nicaragua and Brazil,
okay. Who are we playing, Seth?
We're playing South Korea. If I'm right, we're playing Portugal.
Okay.
We're playing Uruguay. Now,
okay.
Uruguay is no joke. Portugal is no joke. And South Korea is perhaps the most disciplined team in there. Okay? They all know each other. We haven't heard issues with their national team. We have literally wiped out everybody. I would have left some of the old players in there just to help the younger ones settle. But maybe because of the number limitations or political reasons, hey, I got to get rid of you and get a new team here. Are we ready based on what we saw? Man, a lot of work needs to be put in there. You know what I was thinking? If I was Otuado, I'll tell the players, Masa, those of you in Europe, we can be fly and meet each other and just chill together. That's if I was Otuado. I thought about it. I was like, why don't you tell these players
each other
because of the World Cup? Hey, Amate, Pate, or the titties. Amate, Pate, all those in England. Get Walacott. Okay? Bond with him, chill with him, have a good time with him, psych him up, let him feel a part of the Premier League. Some of the games, bring him in, let him sit down, draw him close. Hey, those of you in Amsterdam and Germany, ask permission, meet each other, have fun. We need a lot of external bonding before they all come into the team. Because Oshaya, they look like, team, no, they are all high-spirited. But high spirit is on the pitch. You saw some of the players, when they got the ball, they were so excited to score their first goal that they lost their sense of thinking. So if this attitude gets to the World Cup, we will lose 7 goals and the opponent will just score 1. 1-0.
Okay.
So the players need to understand that, hey, Inaki, kudos, do not be overexcited to try and score a goal. If you don't stand the chance, give it to Inaki to score. Simple. Okay. Don't try and score Marcel World Cup goal. No. This World Cup, we only have 90 minutes. If Inaki has it, give it to him to score. Your turn will come. If they work with this philosophy, then we can do something.
Can we go past group stage?
I know they mean to minka.
Is it likely? Is it possible?
If the coach gets into their brains, and I can trust Otuado because he's worked with Europeans, and Europeans are big on psychology. If the coach can get, and Chris Houghton, he's in UK as well, okay? He can help. If the coach can get into the brains of the player, because football is just getting the brains, holding their brains, the players holding their brains and controlling. If he can, then we can. If Otuado can, if they have, and I loved the relationship they had. When that boy scored a goal, he ran to Otu, jumped on him and hugged him. It shows that they all see him as a father. They want to make him proud. So he could really, really make use of them if he has their brains.
From where you are sitting, is Otuado independent?
Is he independent?
Yes.
How do you mean?
Can someone influence him in terms of selection?
Let me tell you something. I'm a psychologist. Otuado doesn't listen to anybody. He does what he wants to do.
Okay.
He will sit down with his technical team and they'll have their meeting, but he'll tell them what he wants to do.
Okay.
Remember, he's the coach. So I don't think people can really influence Otuado. No. He's a German boy. Oh no, he's just gonna do it how he wants to do it, how you trust him to do it. So I don't think external voices can say if I wait to me, if I wait to. I don't think so. However, whoever they even put in, justify your inclusion. It's even an honor to be put in. Make sure you don't disgrace the coach. You understand? Coach found to no so I'm found you get it. So sometimes you can't blame too much of the coach. You understand? or do what to my boy. So about Black Stars, but when you go and flop, then it means you're not really ready. So I think Otu, if he has the brains of the players, he can do very well.
Is there any particular player that you were expecting to be part of the team?
One player I don't want them to take out or wish for them to take out is Efriye Banye. Okay. Now this guy won the African League with the under-20s. They've qualified as the local Black Stars. He's been instrumental in all of that. The World Cup background platform is a good experience for him. Listen, you never know when somebody will shine. Ask about Abedi Pele about his story. How Abedi Pele became Abedi Pele. One of the top guys could not play. They said, hey, young man, come inside. That was when a star was born. Sometimes the one you don't trust is the one that will make you proud. Because Efriye has everything to fight for. Where he is, he's playing in a local league. There's everything to fight for. You just got to trust him. It will hurt me so bad if they take this young man out. It doesn't cost them that much to keep this guy in just to have that experience. Any other player that they took out, hey, I don't know how sharp they've been in their game, so I can't even guarantee or say, why didn't you pick anybody? What I would have suggested is even add Jan to part of the advices, you know, and not even, he doesn't have any advice to give, but you want him to be around the players.
To encourage them.
To encourage the young ones. You know, hey, Jan is an idol. We can't get people all over the world idolizing one who has set records in the World Cup, and then we don't value what we have. Come on, think about it. It doesn't make sense. Jan is an idol. Why don't you give him that place? He has the records there. So if Maradona is entering your camp as Argentina, you think, come on, man.
Is it our nature as Ghanaians that we're trying? Time pass.
I'm saying, what was the question?
Is it our nature as Ghanaians?
I'll give you an example. Restaurant bibit mi abagana obia beje ho ma bibisi keke obia beka se ho de enye no more to another place. So I think there's no sense of loyalty within our terrain, but we need to learn to stand by our own, learn to support our own, learn to love it, whether it would happen and there will be same hammer.
And this was when I feel Ghana also they can't football. Sports even also the other country
soccer. Well, I think so recently, when it comes to the athletics side, it looks like these American boys they schooled here, they trained with some of these Olympic medalists. They want to make their country proud because perhaps America did not select them. Now we need to encourage these guys to represent the country well, and it will take the government to invest a lot of money in these sports complexes and all make this big, because it looks like we're also doing well in the athletics field. I would add that to it and let the world or make them ambassadors that will project these things.
Any message to Ado as we go to this World Cup?
Okay.
So that you don't get disappointed.
I'll tell him that for Kirk to pick him, now I know people have their own reservations, but hey, let's trust that Kirk knows exactly what he's doing because that's his field. Okay? So we elected him, or Ghana elected him. He's now on that throne. We don't have a choice now. We have to support him.
Okay.
We have to now keep quiet in the criticism and all of that. I say politics. More competing within each other.
Move forward.
We've got to support him. We've got to pray for him. Sometimes, obviously football drone him. Let me tell you, from a bubble. From a crab, sometimes which need now, sorry, which means not feel the smooth in oh yes, superstar, yeah, do dear for baby. Okay, I say. So there is also the spiritual aspect of football. If you don't know it, don't say anything. Oh, football, no. There's effort and there's spirituality. Lack new side. Oh boy, you won't do it. We gotta pray for him. Pray for him means say pray for him no sound mind. It be at that time the crown, it be not on any year go through certain problems. What you say? he might not be so focused on the job because he's going through marital issues. Maybe he's going through something personal that will affect his job. So when we say let's pray for him, we're praying for sound mind to focus on the agenda. Because I could be sitting here, or you could be sitting here and going through something, and perhaps you haven't spoken about it, but you're going through it, and you're trying to make it work because you don't want to lose your job. When we say let's pray for somebody, no, but pray for that footballer so that he's mentally sound to focus. What do you say? Pray for Kudus. Said the sana jono ebia na the girlfriend bia.
Answer on this message.
Answer baby, babe, it's over. I feel a bit na pitch because no. Listen,
yeah, it's true.
One of my footballer boys, Mimboni Dean, he was training on the ground. Hear this. This is true story.
Okay.
He was training, and his wife went to the training ground in England, embarrassed this guy, disgraced him left, right, center. Prior to that, he had won the Mimbo title, and other people will get to know. But he had won some top awards. The moment this woman left, the first thing they did was they got the team psychologist, the team doctor who's a psychologist, to sit him down to ask him what's going on. When they realized that he wasn't okay, that was the end of his career in that team. They benched him, and he couldn't stand it. I feel Ojina Park Nisukrana. Nipanko nyabon ni biode born ne be now I am confused because now if fear enye. So when I say let's pray for somebody, I hear a lot of people in Bible they call no they need mental stability. Mental health. They have that. That's why. So let's pray for them to be sound minded. Let's pray for them to be able to focus. Also, some of the players when they're playing they'll lose their parents or lose somebody, and sometimes when they're playing, you can see that they're not in a good mood because they've lost a family member. So your mental health is also good when it comes to football. And that's what we've got to pray for.
Should they be allowed to take phones to the camp?
Oh, with this...
what you're saying.
With this dispensation and generation, you cannot limit them too much. Okay? But then you can give them time to knock out and go to sleep. If I was the coach... this is the time you guys can sleep. When you guys are eating, you can be on your phone. But if it's time to sleep, please try to be a man enough to go off the phone, because social media can draw your attention, take hours of your time. You need rest to focus. Once you explain that, as I bought 9, I'm off my phone until 5 a.m. Let's keep that discipline for the next 3 weeks. So I wouldn't say put your phone down, let me see. No, but tell them. Because when you come on the pitch and you're not delivering, we will know. And you'll sit down on the bench. And I think they'll all follow it. Because they also have to be on the phones to talk to their wives or their girlfriends or whoever. Yeah, you want to, hey, babe, let me see this guy. You want that. So you can't, you just have to define it for them. Yeah.
Thanks. We shall meet again.
Thank you.
Thanks,